There's no way she could keep her panda in. And $200? For what? Who do they think they are? Celine Dion?
The new movie making the rounds right now is Turning Red. This animated film is probably one of the most insightful films that's been released this year, and I think it's safe to say that Pixar did the best job that they could have possibly been able to do on this film. This film gives us an insight on how it feels to go red. In today's video, we'll be talking about all the mistakes you might have missed in Pixar's new movie, Turning Red. Before we go forward, we want to make sure you don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so. Also, don't forget to give this video a like and hit that post notification bell to be notified of more videos from us. Now, without any further ado, let's get right into what we've got for you today.
You're not going out like that, are you?
My panda, my choice, Mom.
The movie begins in a rather satirical fashion as the script depicts what it feels like from an animated point of view when a girl gets her first period. One of the most amazing things about this movie is how well it's relatable to women all over the world. At some point, the majority of women had their first period, and it must have been quite the experience. Not always a pleasant one, and this movie depicts the plethora of emotions that comes with turning red. Here are some of the mistakes we think you might have missed in the Pixar film Turning Red.
I didn't mean that. I'm a gross red monster. Stop talking.
The film starts with a 13-year-old girl that goes through a physical transformation. She instantly darts into the closet bathroom. She is burning with shame and she doesn't want to be looked at. "Go away, I'm a monster," she says, sobbing when her mother comes knocking on the door to ask what's wrong. A common occurrence at the age of 13, but she doesn't know that yet. Her mother nervously asks the question, unsure what to say and not say. She isn't sure she's intruding on her daughter's privacy, so she asks, "Has the red peony bloomed?"
I got so angry and I lost control.
The first thing that we all thought when we saw this movie was, could the famously themed novel be getting its screenplay finally? To all our disappointment, it wasn't. If you're a fan of Judy Blume, then you'll have come across this novel. The first mistake that we can say a lot of people have pointed out about this film is not adapting it into an amazing work of art. It just feels like the right thing to do. There aren't exactly a lot of films that depict the female journey in this specific way, so it just seemed like the right thing to do in making an adaptation of the novel. It just felt like the perfect opportunity to make this about the lesson that a lot of girls can learn from. Judy Blume's classic menstruation-themed novel, Are You There, God, It's Me, Margaret, has gained a lot of recognition over the years. This ranks as one of the mistakes that we can make note about in this animated film. This doesn't take away from the fact that Pixar's Turning Red is an amazing film. Some have tagged it as a groundbreaking movie even. It teaches a lot of things, and what better way to let young girls know the life that they'll be having ahead of them in the most subtle way. It focuses on the coming of age of a Chinese-Canadian middle schooler. She's caught in between what her parents expect of her and the awakening sense of independence that she's feeling.
Well, sorry, I'm not perfect. Sorry, I'm not good enough.
One thing that a lot of people have to say about this is the difference between what we all thought it would be about and what it ended up being about. It ended up being all fun and lighthearted, which is good. When Pixar announced the release of their new film, we all thought it was going to have a certain direction, but we were shocked to find out it didn't. Some have said that maybe they had a misguided storyline. The difference between the reality of what we expect and what we got was different. It didn't take away from the fact that we enjoyed what we got nonetheless. Mi-Lin Lee is voiced by Rosaline Shang, while her mother, Ming, is voiced by Sandra Oh. Her mother originally assumed she's about to have her first period, but that isn't what happened. She's getting her first pandification. Mi had no idea that women from her mother's side have a blessing, which can also be a curse, depending on how you handle it. Mi-Lin Lee, as it turns out, has inherited this curse, like blessing, from a long ago ancestor that causes them to turn into a giant fluffy red panda whenever they experience intense emotion. Since she was 13 and feeling all of this swirl of emotions all at once, teenage years would do that to you. She's experiencing intense emotion. Mi finds herself in a position where she's transforming into this enormous scarlet-themed beast a lot of times each day.
Come on, May. It'll clear my mind. Just a little hint. It's so cute.
Okay, the truth is we all love this film, but we just wish it could have been a tad more. Not in the sense of what you're thinking. A typical example is what we just talked about. Pixar could have easily made it into a movie that talked about what girls would likely face, the wonders they would have gone through, right? Although it somehow manages to touch on the subject of Mia's intense emotion, the swirl of hormones she's feeling at her age. Not all the critics had something bad to say because there isn't really anything wrong with this movie. Here is what some critics had to say about the movie.
What happened? She's huge!
I told you she was big!
That big?
A story of a magical transformation as a metaphor for personal and cultural change. Turning Red is Pixar's funniest and most imaginative film in years. It captures the wild energy of adolescence, uses pop stars as a timeless window into puberty, and tells a tale of friendship and family in the most delightfully kid-friendly way.
How could she do this to her own mother?
Director Damichi, who brought a dumpling to life in her Oscar-winning short Beau, graduates to feature with flying colors, literally, in this charmer from Pixar. Turning Red is original, funny, and tender, an affectionate reminder that adolescence is a time of life not easily tamed, and sometimes the animal inside us demands release.
Can garbage do this? Or this? Stir the porridge.
Pixar, at its finest, finding an angle to tackle the personal and best parts of Turning Red are reminiscent of how Inside Out also explored growing up, with heart, humor, and the occasional gag. The story will likely mean a lot to young girls dealing with changing bodies and new hormones, and the moms and dads helping them through it. And for everyone else, the film reminds us to wholly embrace that messy, loud, weird inner beast that makes you, you.
Wonder if your mom knows her precious little May has been flaunting the panda all over school.
Though it would be more than fair to count Turning Red among the growing number of children's movies like Encanto broaching the concept of generational trauma, it feels distant in that the trauma at hand isn't exactly the point of the movie. It's just one element of Milan's magical, complicated life. It's a life that, among other things, involves her emotions becoming so powerful that they rise to a new physical form. An idea that becomes increasingly relatable the more you let the movie and its unfortunate addictive soundtrack wash over you.
I know it feels that way, like all the time.
As a Beau, she never compromises the specifics to ponder to more general viewers. Though Mia proclaims at the beginning of the film that she's full of confidence, she spends most of its runtime growing into actually feeling that sense of self. By the end of the movie, though, she's fully embraced her individuality and found ways to let it live alongside in other parts of her life. In that way, Turning Red feels like the result of her growth, a movie that is unabashedly and jovially embraces its own identity in such a tender way that it ate.
OMG!
No way!
That was you in the bathroom!
Pixar Turning Red came to Disney Plus on March 11th and has been the talk of most people. It's a fantastic film that we definitely think you would love. I know we loved it. Don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe to our channel, and hit that post notification bell so you'll know when we upload more videos. Until next time.
And help me appreciate some boys.
Okay.